with everything milled, we can actually get onto the glue up. Now, there's a few things to consider with this glue up. So the first thing is the width. So you don't want to glue this all up in one go because, well, when you're gluing 16 pieces of timber together, the time it will take is probably beyond your actual glue's open time. Another reason is that it becomes incredibly difficult to move large work pieces around by yourself. So by gluing it up in 2 or 3 parts, that sort of just makes it a lot easier to manage. And the other couple of things you can consider is limiting the width to the width of your thicknesser or your jointer. So say you have a 12-inch thicknesser, limit those glue ups to 12 inches because once the glue is dry, you'll be able to pass them through and you'll remove any of those high spots, and it will make flattening your workbench a lot easier at the end of the build. And of course, if you do have an 8-inch jointer, you could limit yourself to 8 inches wide because then you can send it over your jointer and then through your thicknesser. Of course, that is added steps, but they're all options which will make life easier at the end of the build. So for my glue up, I'm breaking it up into 3 pieces. So I've got the rear slab, which consists of 7 pieces all up, and that's going to be done in one go. So that rear slab is 7 pieces or about 300 millimeters wide roughly, or 12 inches. And then the front slab is actually the one which I break up into 3 smaller pieces. So the front slab is going to be made up of 8 pieces all up, but on the 8th piece or the middle piece, I'm leaving that out because I want to add a little bit of an accent strip down the middle of my bench. So just a nice contrasting wood either side of this middle piece of timber here. Then for the remaining 7 pieces, I'm going to be removing the front 2 pieces and leaving them out. So these 2 pieces are what receives the tail vise and the dog hole strip. So we have to leave them off so we can install our vise. So what I'm left with basically is 2 pieces which don't get glued onto anything. Then I've got 5 pieces which I glue together. I've got a centerpiece which has no glue at this stage. And then I've got 7 pieces which make up the rear slab. So I'm hoping that makes sense. Okay, so here's the back slab. So this is the biggest slab we have to glue up, so I thought this would be the best example to show you. So for the glue, I'm just using your standard Titebond Premium, so nothing's fancy about that. And as far as using anything to help align these boards like a biscuit, I'm not bothering in this case. So if you have a biscuit joiner, definitely go ahead and use it. A domino, a doweling machine, something like that will definitely help keep these boards aligned. But I just want to do an experiment with my bench using nothing but glue and coals. So these coals are just the offcuts, and I'm just going to clamp them top and bottom and hope that that keeps this slab relatively flat. Here I'm just rolling all of the glue out so I have a nice even layer. And if it looks like it's thin in any places, I just apply a bit of glue to that place. So now with that, I just flip it on edge. Okay, so before I actually cinch these up, I'm going to be putting 3 locks. So 1 at the ends and 1 in the middle. Okay, so we'll let this dry overnight and then we'll come back and send this back through the thicknesser and planer and things like that and bring it nice and flat. So I'm pretty happy with the way these coals have worked. So there's a few small ridges, but not as many as I would expect. And to be honest, it's probably the same amount of ridges as you'd get using biscuits. So if you don't have a biscuit joiner, I have no problems recommending this method as well. Okay, so I went ahead and I clamped the other slab, so the second slab last night as well, and they've both been drying overnight and I just took them out of the clamp. So as you can see, they're ready to go. Now in my first video, so the video I posted several months ago, I did cover how you can flatten these slabs using an undersized jointer, or of course using hand tools. So if you're going to be using either one of those methods, make sure you check out that video by clicking the link in the description. But because I have now got a 14-inch jointer, I'm going to use my jointer and then send it through the thicknesser. Okay, so this is my aircraft carrier, or otherwise known as my 14-inch jointer, and I've got it set up with the roller stand on the infeed, so as I pass it over, I'll have plenty of support, so I can concentrate all of my pressure on the front part here, to make sure that I get a nice even coat. Now, of course, because there is multiple laminations in here, we've got several different grain directions. So you will get tear out, but you just take a very light cut, try and go nice and slow, and don't rush it, and you should be able to keep that to a minimum. Okay, so now this is perfectly flat and free of twist. Okay, so that's the first slab finished. So I've just got to finish off the smaller slab by gluing on this middle lamination once I've got those two contrasting strips glued in. And then I'll just repeat that exact same process where I send it over the jointer and then through the thicknesser to bring it to be nice and flat and free of twist. Like always, Jords Woodshop is a weekly woodworking podcast, so if you don't want to miss any of my future episodes, make sure you click that subscribe button down there, because pretty much every Thursday or Friday you'll see a new video, which is always good fun, I guess. Of course, I've got social networking, so facebook.com/JordsWoodShop, so head over there and like that page if you're on Facebook, because you get a lot of sort of images and behind the scenes things there. And also my personal website, which is JordsWoodShop.com, where you can see all the previous episodes, a few articles, and also donate to the show if you enjoy it, and look at plans and things like that. So just head over there if that sounds like something you're interested in. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.